And as you've already discussed and explained about where you are right now, Stephanie, I'm
Mhm.
so proud of what you've accomplished with your book, with your series, with your work, giving women tools that they can take and really implement everything that we would do in a
Mm.
session, even at our own pace.
Mhm.
Can you explain that a little further?
Yes, the book, of course, is called Identity. 12 lessons on unapologetically owning your uniqueness in a world that doesn't and won't
Uh-huh.
see you as normal. I mean, that is the way the system is set up, right? It's set up to not want us to be uniquely different. It is set up for control. And so the
Wow.
more we are alike each other, the
Mm-hmm.
easier it is for people to control us.
Right. Right.
Let that
Right.
sink in. So the book really is about owning your uniqueness, not allowing people to reduce who you are to their lens or their paradigm or how they would show up or how they would do things. And so like I was going to read some of the what the chapters are. So like lesson 1, the room is crooked.
Ooh,
Understanding the environmental narratives. What's going on around you? What is
what
actually
is?
shaping how you
It's
show
already
up?
too much.
What is around you that has shaped your narratives? And so the way the book is set up, like you're reading that's Sherry's story. So you're reading her story and her journey about hers is connected to family. So like each story, each that you start off in the book is just about this conversation around how did this woman handle environmental narratives? How did it impact her? Hers was centered on family. So
Right.
there was like toxic, just toxic ways in which people were showing up. And so she had to make some decisions about how she was actually going to change those things in order to show up as her greatest self.
Right.
And so
Right.
you have that reflection. And then I do my reflection on every single chapter, every single lesson. So
Mm-hmm.
then I tell you how I'm reflecting on that and what that means to me and what her story means to me, because you know how I feel. Tools are number one, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it that I can do to support you in doing that work? So I actually give you an example of me actually reflecting on her story
Mm-hmm.
to actually now look at my life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so then I ask you the question, so what's your reflection? So now you have this tool of really kind of engaging with yourself and your life and look, where have environmental narratives controlled me?
Me.
And what am I going to do about it, right?
Right.
And so then I go into, some research, or whether it's a story or a poem or a song, just really unique things that help us kind of delve deeper into the conversation.
Yes.
And then we work on our plan. What does your plan look like? Here are some questions to help you start working on how you can begin to put that piece in place.
Right.
After you do that work for yourself, you go to the next lesson. The
Mm.
next lesson, embrace your story. How many of us are hiding from our story?
Hiding.
How many of us are ashamed of our story?
Very.
And so, accepting your journey, all of it, the good, the bad,
Bad.
and the ugly,
Mm.
because it makes you who it is a part of who you are and how you show up. And that denial of our story strips us of an important piece of how we show up in our greatness. And
Mm-hmm.
so the same pattern goes for that. Number 3 is it begins with you, not them. How many of
It
us don't take a
does.
responsibility for our show up?
It
But if he would
does.
do better, it begins with you, not them.
Ooh.
If my job wasn't, it begins with you, not them.
Ouch.
If this was different, it begins with you,
Begins with
not
me.
them, right? And there's different quotes that I really love. Like for that one, the quote is, "If I didn't define myself for myself, I would be crushed into other people's fantasies of me and eaten
Right.
alive." Mm.
That's deep.
It is. It's wonderful. And
That's
so
deep.
lesson 4, who do I need to become? Who are you evolving into? So like each lesson is something that you need to put together this identity blueprint, this plan for who it is that you need to become to move your process forward about who you are and how you show up. And so there's 12 lessons. 1, break the silence. What is your faith in? Right? Lesson 6, overcoming self-imposed limits. What are those limiting beliefs that's holding you back? Lesson 7, create boundaries.
Create boundaries. That one. That one.
Girl. So it's talking about boundaries and self-silencing. That's really, I did some research in there on how we silence ourselves in order to fit in to places and people and situations that's really stripping us of who we are and how we really need to show up to move our lives forward.
Is that almost like having a muzzle on?
Yes, you just silence yourself in order to not create conflict. But sometimes we're self-silencing in toxic, dysfunctional areas that we think if we're quiet will change. But your silence is not going to change it.
That's so many.
Yeah.
That is so
So
many.
8 is lead your impact. How do you define your truth? Lesson 9, purpose is you. So many of us are looking for purpose outside of ourselves. But when we actually do the identity work and we work on our personal growth, we come to discover, which is what I discovered, my life is the message. That is purpose. Me becoming the greatest expression of myself is purpose. So now what is the message my life is called to speak? And everybody has a message. Everybody. There's nothing to search for. Lesson 10, you are the gift. You're not invisible. Get out of their box. Lesson 11, you need other women. The power of community. And lesson 12, self-care is not optional. Well-being is essential. So when you put all of those lessons together, you have an identity plan that now you can use to move your life forward into becoming the greatest expression. It is something that you can start. Start. And guess what? These 12 lessons, every time you evolve, you have to do them again. That's the tool.
Definitely.
That book is like the Bible.
It's the Bible of self-growth. They can go to identitydynamics.net. This is the cover. The cover is important.
Yes.
So her hair, the big afro, all of the deliciousness, it just represents us being who we want to be authentically, right? The pearls represent legacy and how our mothers and women before us have groomed us. So it's a part of us bringing that legacy with us. And the color red, because it is talking about us leading our impact. We're so used to blues and grays and browns as colors of leadership.
Bold.
It's bold. Just be who you are, right? And the orange just represents your culture, your intersectionality, what makes you who you are. Stop graying it out and just be vibrant. Be who you're called to be. And then the green in the word identity means growth. It's time. It's time to grow. So if you go to identitydynamics.net, and then you just scroll down and push book, you can get the book. We have notebooks for your notes and so forth. We have mugs, we have t-shirts. And then on this one, it says, I am the gift. Just to remind yourself, of why you're valuable and important and what that means to your journey and to your walk. So we're on the book tour now, as you know. And so we're just excited. We'll be in South Carolina next week on September the 7th. We'll be back here October the 17th in Atlanta. And then we'll be on the 26th, we'll be in Charlotte.
The 27th.
What's on the 27th?
When's your birthday?
17th, when I come to Atlanta.
So that date we need to be very clear about. That is the 17th.
Yeah, that's my birthday, October the 17th.
Yes. Someone is saying the 27th, so we need to be very clear. Yeah.
Oh, no, the 17th.
That's why these conversations are so important.
Yes. Yes, we won't be.
Wow. Yes. Yes. I'm just so, I don't know. I'm just so blown away. I know I said it's the Bible, but when you can take a tool like this, you don't read it one time. You say, I could literally come back and I have to do this over and over again at each step.
Yes.
At each step. It keeps me going. That's I don't know, it's a mind-blowing tool that you put together. People put together workbooks before. We get all through the workbook to the end done. I don't know where that workbook is. But this is something that's ongoing. You've done the work to help us to take what's in your mind, which is depths of, if we went in there, we'd probably be like, whoa, and put that in a tool we can use. I'm so happy to be a part of this process and journey with you and to watch it. I believe everybody needs it.
Yes.
Not because this is my very, very dear friend.
Right.
This is important.
It is.
I am
I
sold
agree.
out. I believe in it.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've lived it. I've done it. And now she's
Yeah.
given us a tool
Yeah.
to use
Yeah.
to make it happen.
Yeah.
And then we can literally take this tool into our spaces
Yeah.
Yes.
to help these women. So you've even equipped us.
Yes.
You know, it's
Yes.
just beautiful thing. Beautiful
Yes,
thing.
because I mean, if you think about it, every evolution, every time you grow, every time you feel that desire to transition, you have to inspect your environment
Yeah.
because what was okay for your last season,
That's true.
not okay for
Right.
your next.
Right.
You see what I'm
That is
saying?
so
So that's why you have to go
true.
back through it again. Who do I need to become? You have to ask yourself that question
Yeah.
for every season because the next season that you're going into requires something different of you.
It does.
Yeah.
You know,
It
certain
does.
things
It
that
does.
didn't trigger you in this season triggers you in the next.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to develop, like you said, you know, that skill set, that grit. That's
Yep.
why we have to pay attention to our present because there's growth in this moment. Sometimes we can get so focused on what's coming that we forget to appreciate the now because the now has tools and skills and mindsets and perspectives and lenses that need to be developed now
Right.
that take us into
Yeah.
our next.
Yeah.
And we wonder why
Yeah.
we get stuck because you don't have the skill set to stay in your next.
Right.
You go back, you
Yo,
default.
oh, right.
Yeah.
Don't want to
Yeah.
go back. I do not want to go back.
But think about it. We only go back if we don't grow. We do not have to go back. We only go back if we don't grow.
And we do not. And
You
now
don't
we have
have
the
to.
tools so that we do not go back. But you
Don't
know what
have
I
to.
found, Dr. Stephanie? I have found that all of your tools have done that. For anyone that's going to seminar, they can always go back to that tool
Yes.
that you produced and do it again.
Yeah.
And it will be different each time. Now,
Every
that's
time.
my personal testimony.
It's
for
a
all
personal
of them.
testimony for pretty much
Yeah.
every woman who's gone through IPOM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They say,
my
I still
palm.
got my
Yep.
book.
Yeah.
Yep.
I go back.
Yep. Yep.
Sure do.
And I reevaluate
Yes.
through those lessons.
Yes.
That is so my agenda.
Yes.
When I tell you I don't want to just be an inspiration,
Absolutely. And you're
For real.
You,
Like,
you
for
are,
real.
But no, you put
I
in the work.
need you to
we
have tools
we
because I
transform, we have a
understand. I
transformation.
understand the importance of the
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
It has to be a part of your journey. You
Yeah.
cannot just be spirit. You
Right.
are also soul and body.
Yeah.
You have to do the work
Yeah.
in those spaces.
Yeah. I agree.
We are
I
three in one.
Mhm.
Spirit, soul, and body.
Yeah.
But we can get so caught up on that spirit piece that we forget the other two pieces and we're wondering what the problem is.
Yeah.
You're not having a holistic approach to who you are and how you show up and what that means to your journey.
Right. Right.
It has to be
Right.
holistic.
Yeah.
It has to be.
You know, I don't want to be that 8-year-old that the people say they're working with.
Mm-hmm.
Good,
Correct.
I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I think
No.
those of us that we're showing up because the teacher is there waiting. The teacher has appeared. We don't want to be just as you
No,
just said.
we
We
don't.
don't want to be that 8-year-old person. We are
No.
done. We're done with that. There is more. We're willing to grow,
Yes.
and we're willing to continue that growth,
Yes.
forever learning.
You have to be a lifelong
Yeah.
learner. There is no just every now and no.
Yeah.
We have to be life.
Yeah.
We have to
Yeah.
settle that
Yeah.
we will be forever learning, forever growing. We don't make it because
Yeah.
God will always call us to a higher.
Yeah. Glory to
Place.
glory.
We go from
Glory to
glory to
glory.
glory.
I
Why
think
would
that's
you want to
exciting,
stop?
though.
Why would you want to stop?
Yeah, I think that's exciting. Like, you know, no, don't have a dull moment. I think that's in
No.
relationships, and then you know, and when you're planning something, you've reached this milestone. Does everything just end?
No.
Honeymoon's over. I guess this is where it's as good as it gets.
Yeah, and that's
No,
You know,
terrible.
it is not.
It shouldn't
not.
be so.
Mm-mm,
It
no.
shouldn't be so, and it could
Mm-mm.
always be greater. You
Always.
could always learn more.
Always.
You know, I tell you, it doesn't matter what Stephanie doing. I'll be right in there with it because I feel like there's so much that she brings to the table that if you're humble enough, no matter where space you are in, you can grow with that. I say I have women that come to my class that are millionaires.
Mm-hmm.
We teach them through that process, and from that first week to that last week, what growth has happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they come in all different levels, but they're
Yes.
coming in open and willing to learn through that
Correct.
process.
Correct.
Then there's what you said, growth.
Yes. Every time. Every time. And it's, and there is no reason to feel ashamed that you have to learn something. That is so dangerous. That's so dangerous. It's so dangerous to be like, well, I don't want nobody to know I don't know that. Hello.
Right.
We all have to learn
Yep.
something from somebody.
Right.
All of us. None of us have made it. We all have areas that need to be impacted by somebody else's wisdom.
Yes.
Just like we give wisdom to somebody in our strength.
Yes.
Somebody has something that I need in their strength.
Yes. Yes.
Like you said, I have to humble myself to know that I don't know everything, right? I promise you, I work with executives all the time who are beasts at what they do on the job.
Right. Come on with it.
But they don't know who they are.
Right. That's fact. Witness to it.
Because
That's
we
fact.
try to translate our identity through what we do.
Yeah.
And it is not the same.
Not the same. But they don't know that.
No.
Once you show them and their eyes open, I'm trying to tell you, but like, what took me so long? Oh my gosh, what was I afraid of?
Yeah.
I feel so much more empowered now,
Mhm.
even to face my next challenge.
Yes.
Because of how you allowed me to come in and you've equipped me.
Mhm.
You know, it's such important work
It's
that you're
huge.
doing.
It's huge. And
Stephanie.
so it's just, and I'm, honored to, walk that out. And again, what I am teaching is what I walked out.
Yes, it's very.
So it's not like,
authentic.
this ain't just education from some books and Googled.
Right. Yeah.
This is my journey.
It's not even AI.
No. No.
Come on now.
This is what I had to do.
Yes,
Right.
very authentic.
So, I actually share my story in here, my aha, what was wrong. I talk about that in here. So people know, listen, no, where you are right now, I had to do it too. It's okay.
It's okay.
The fact that you just start, right? I share a story in here about a 70-year-old woman when I was teaching at a church and just teaching, helping the women about identity and who they are and how they show up. And then after the program, she walked up to me and she said, "Baby." And I'm like, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Baby, where were you when I was 20? She says, "I've done it all." She says, "I was married. I'm now widowed." She says, "I have great grandchildren." And she said, "I just asked God last week, what was it all for?"
Whoa.
Because she realized that she had lived a scripted life and never touched fulfillment.
My. Yeah.
Environmental narratives.
And it is.
And I said, "Mother, we need you."
Sure do.
And she said, "You do?" I said, "Yes." I said, "You have such wisdom. You have knowledge that we need that's going to help us grow for the challenges and stuff that we face in our life. We need you."
Yeah.
She said, "You need me, baby." I said, "Yes, ma'am."
Yes, we do.
She said, "Okay." But y'all, I went in that car and I just,
Yes, I know you did. That's tough.
how many of our
That's
mothers
tough.
have lived scripted lives because somebody told them that was what they were supposed to do
Yep.
and never gave themselves permission to follow their heart.
My Lord. Yes, indeed. Oh my gosh. Many.
I sat in the car and thought about the generations,
Yes. And that's passed on. And it's deep.
generations of women. And I call them anti-women. Y'all, excuse me. I call them anti-women. Women who are anti-women because we are forcing, we're still forcing that narrative on our daughters.
Yes. Yes. Like it's for them to hold as a mantle. And it's ordained by
We're
God.
really stripping them of their destiny
Yeah.
because I did it, because this is what my mama told. You're stripping your daughters of their destiny because you're teaching them not to follow their heart, but just to follow what you did.
Yeah.
We're not
Not so.
teaching them not
so. Not
It's
to
so.
not
tap
so.
in
Not so.
It is
into
not
their,
so.
but they're not happy.
Yeah.
But you're teaching your unhappiness.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
passionately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But you're not fulfilled, but you teaching me
Yep.
because somebody taught you
Or we're going to carry on this tradition.
Oh my. Yep.
unconsciously carrying on bondage because somebody taught you not to think about yourself, that you
Right.
you ain't all of that.
Right.
And people don't understand the narrative behind that script
Yeah.
that we do to each other, that we do to other Black women, things that we say to our daughters. Oh, you ain't all that. Oh, who you think you are? Oh, you trying to be all, and we don't realize the slavery piece of that. During slave times, mothers did that to their daughters because if their daughters were bold, if their daughters were confident, if their
Yes.
daughters were beautiful, if their daughters did do that, they would have been what? Sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they reduced them
Yeah.
in order to protect them.
Right.
But instead of us breaking that generational narrative because it is no longer applicable,
Exactly.
we're still doing it today.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
From slavery,
Yeah.
we're still breaking down our daughters.
Yeah.
Oh, you think you fast, or close your mouth, or you don't talk. We're
Right.
breaking down our daughters
Mhm.
with that because their mother did it, and their mother did it, and their mother did it, not realizing the root of that conversation
Right.
was protection, but now it's creating dysfunction,
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
and we're continuing it. But identity,
Come
There
on.
you go.
teaching people
Yes.
how to what? Unapologetically own their uniqueness, own that difference is important and valuable, and that we all do not have to be the same.
Right.
Because when I honor my uniqueness, I can see it in you.
Yes,
Mhm.
indeed.
Then there is no competition
Right.
because I own where my path.
That part you just said.
Yeah.
There's no competition.
When you find a woman that you work with and don't, that competition is not, oh, she know who she is.
She's comfortable in her skin.
She's comfortable. And you can really get some things done.
Yeah.
You really
You know, you can really get some
That
things
comes from
done.
insecurity.
Yes.
Because you don't know, and I don't care what nobody says, because you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Because if you knew who you were, you could refer somebody to me.
Exactly.
Because I know my lane. And I tell people all the time, why do you need me to come? If it's not in my lane and I hear somebody else, I'm like, oh, you need to call such and such. She will
Yeah.
impact and empower this. But I don't, no, I'm not going just because I can. See, that's knowing who you are and knowing your mandate.
Yes.
I don't
Yes,
just go
yes,
to
yes,
do
yes.
events and stuff like that because they're going to pay me some money. No, ma'am.
Right.
Because now I'm in the place of someone else's anointing and mandate for that house.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I will not disservice you by just because I can come up with a sermon or a message, a workshop. No, ma'am.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm intentional because I know why I'm here.
Yeah.
That's right.
And if you're telling me one thing that's not my mandate, I know somebody who's going to bless your house
Right.
because the anointing on their life is for what it is that you're trying to get as an
Yep.
outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no competition.
No competition.
No.
For real.
None. Mm-mm.
Wow.
Ooh, Dr. Stephanie.
This is good. This is good.
Yes,
This
it
is good.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you
share.
for, dropping these. I don't even, what these ain't nuggets. What these chicken wings? What is this?
Not the chicken wings.
But thank you for sharing that at that level. People need to know. They need to, and this gives a really good view and understanding of it and how important it is. We support you. We salute you. We are evidence of it in the work. And we're one of those, if you're nobody else, you got two willing to go to touch the next. I don't want it generation after generation. You ain't gonna have me crying up in here.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't. That needs to be broken. It can be with us and the rest that come aboard
Yeah.
that know and identify that this is the next step that we should be doing.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you for having
Thank you, new friend. It's been good. It's been good.
Yeah.
We appreciate you. Take care.